Activate party mode.
A-firm, party mode engaged.
Hello and welcome to Party Mode, the F1 podcast with no limits. I'm Jethro Bovingdon and I am joined by my good friends Matthew Collins and Charlie Curtis. And after an F1 Grand Prix in Canada that spilled over into the excitement and controversy that we've all been waiting for, there is only one place to start this podcast, and that's in France, where I met Roger Federer.
You did.
Baby. There we go.
Wow.
I did, but
how
it was
fast did your pants come off?
It was so brief. It was such a pain. Not my performance wasn't brief. I mean, just the whole encounter was extremely brief. But
how would you rate your coolness on a scale of 1 being totally freaking out and a mess versus 10 you were totally cool and calm and collected?
Well, I definitely beat Dax when he met Toto. That's for sure.
Incredible.
Low bar, but that's a start.
It is a low bar. I was pretty cool, to be honest. So what was going to happen? I was not due to interview him, but my colleague, a guy called Tom Christiansen, who's like he's won Le Mans 9 times, Mr. Le Mans, gets all sorts of special access at Le Mans and is a Rolex ambassador, just like Roger is. So he was obviously met him beforehand. He's met him at various things that they go to. And the idea was he was going to do so Roger was going to be a passenger in a Mercedes, because I think he's got some tie-up with Mercedes around the track, like get a lap. Tom was going to follow in a Porsche, which is like the official supplier of the safety car for WEC and Le Mans. And then they would jump out and have a chat together. And I was like, well, I've got to go. So like, I've got to go because I might be able to interject and actually become the host if I play it right. So I went along, went to the pit lane, and everything was running late. Practice was running late, blah, blah, blah. And once the pit lane's live, you have to wear fireproof overalls. So it was like 2 minutes before Roger was due to arrive. And I got kicked out of the pit lane because it went live. So like my dreams were shattered. And I was like, maybe it's just not meant to be, or maybe it's him on the grid or something. But then because of the delay, he couldn't come out either because he didn't have fireproof overalls on, and they changed the location. And it ended up being right in the TV compound where he was going to come back from this hot lap where I was, where the whole TNT Eurosport Max team were. So basically, the girl texted me because she knew, the producer texted me. It's like, it's going to be here. Drop me a pin. I went up there, and about 2 minutes after I arrived, he arrived in the Mercedes. Tom arrived behind him in the Porsche. They got out, had a little chat, and we were ready to mic him up. So I had a good reason to chat to him because it was like, we need to get this interview done, blah, blah, blah. But he had so many people flapping around him, as you can imagine. Yeah, you know, wherever he goes. But he was in such stark contrast to the people around him, because you've been in you've been in a car on a track with a helmet on, and it was what would it be? It was like 25 degrees. So let's say 75, 80 degrees. So it was hot. And he got out. Everyone else is flapping, not a bead of sweat, took his helmet off, not a hair out of place. And I was like, this guy is just like so cool, so laid back. And he walked over towards me. So I just shook his hand, which was pretty cool. And then just said, hi, Roger. Like, I'm working for TNT. We need to do this interview. Like, I'm a big fan of yours. So I'm like, it's really good to meet you. He chatted to me, just said, great. You know, blah, blah, blah. Thanks very much. And then it did not last long. I'd love to say it lasted longer, but then he got hurried away and we couldn't do the interview. And but as he left, he said to me, don't worry, we'll do something on the grid. So I've shaken Roger Federer's hand. He's acknowledged my existence, spoken to me. I think that's enough. I'm going to take that as a result.
That's a great start.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's the first step on our relationship to brotherhood, maybe communal living, etc. You know? So yeah, a great weekend for me. And then during the live for the TV, there was still, we couldn't pin down a time to interview him. So it was like whoever sees him first. So basically Leslie, who's the girl who does the main presentation, Tom and Alex Brundle, Martin's son, were at the front doing the main presenting. And then I was going and interviewing significant people. So I spoke to Valentino Rossi, who was racing, and a few other people. So it was like,
so you're you're like the Crofty, basically.
Yeah, I'm like,
you're kind of like going around doing like the little, like they're throwing to you constantly, and you're like,
yeah,
here I am.
Yeah. So I had some targets. I had like 4 or 5 targets. So I had Mick Schumacher, Michael Schumacher's son. So I spoke to him. Valentino Rossi is obviously a big draw. One of the Porsche drivers who was on pole last year but got kicked out of qualifying this year because the car was underweight. So Kevin Estro's fucking amazing driver. And then Roger was like just on my radar. Like if I see him, I'll grab him. But unfortunately, as I sort of suspected, he was at the front of the grid with the trophy, with the pole car. Yeah. So they spoke to him at the front of the grid. And was
he waving the flag?
Yeah, he waved the flag at the start as well. Okay. So yeah, he was a dude. And we didn't. Yeah, I don't have his phone number. I didn't leave with like Roger Federer contact in my phone. But apart from that, it was a good weekend.
Oh, and you saw awesome. The girl that I know and Charlie saw her in Miami, Tony.
I did, yes.
So, and she laughed. She sent me a picture of the two of you, and she's like, I think he was a bit lost on who I was. And I was like, I think Jethro was probably running on no sleep and didn't. I'm like, we've talked about you a lot, but he probably like didn't associate you being there and whatever. And she was like, LOL, it was great to meet him. But yeah.
You know me though. I mean, I've had this before with Dax. He'll be like, so-and-so, and it'll be some like world famous actor. And I'm like, no idea. I'm terrible with people and names, but I put it together because she said, oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, how do you know me? Or she said something like, oh, I know Matthew, we're like friends. And then I was like, oh, right, yeah, you've got the podcast and everything. So yeah, she was there with McLaren actually, because I went to the launch of their new WEC hypercar, and she was doing the interviewing with Zach Brown and stuff like that. So yeah,
she's really blown up in the last like 2 years, and she deserves it. She's a smart girl, and she's like really.
And she was there with, I think she'd come out with Ford, and she'd been driving Mustang Dark Horses and stuff like that. So she was having a whale of a time. But yeah, it was cool. Just an awesome race, and I'll talk about the winner later because I would like to talk about him because he used to race in F1 and he's an absolute hero. Not just like everyone's like an icon and a hero. Like he's a proper hero. I'll tell you about his story a bit later.
Cool.
But there was other stuff happening in Canada. I mean, we might as well just start with we've been waiting for this huge, explosive coming together of the two title protagonists. And in the end, it was like perhaps the most pathetic end to what we could have imagined, isn't it? It was like, it's ironic in the time of the F1 movie debut is that in real life, it's like the worst plot twist ever in F1. It was so pathetic.
It was, but it also felt very predictable. Like as it was happening, and we've talked about it, I just felt like Lando was going to make a mental error, which he did, but it felt so predictable. Like, of course that's what happened, but the timing of it was perfect. It was a perfect coming together of those two drivers. We've been looking for it. We've been waiting for it. They've been told on the radio time and time again, like, we're going to let them race, go for it, settle it on track, blah, blah, blah. And they finally had the opportunity to do it at the very end of an already great race. And I think the better driver came out on top.
And like kind of takes him out of contention roughly. Like
he's now a whole race win behind.
Yeah, you have Oscar basically has to DNF one race. Or I don't know.
He does, but there's a lot of races to go, and Oscar's not stupid. I think he said if Lando was to win 3 in a row and Oscar was second, they'd effectively be even on points. So it's not as big a gap as you think. But I think it's more the psychological blow, isn't it? Again, it's like every time something happens between them, even if Norris is quicker, Oscar finds a way or doesn't make the mistake. I mean, Oscar, the irony is we expecting this huge battle, dive bombing each other, all the rest. I doubt Oscar even noticed that he was there. He just felt a little jolt and then Lando's gone. It wasn't even a racing move. It was just a driving into the back of someone's wheel. It was really
so
weird.
And the only option, there was like 2 feet of track. So like the idea that he was going that way was insane. It was like, why are you
even if
over
he
that way?
didn't hit Piastri, he would hit the wall. There was nothing. And going on the grass to make that like that seemed crazy.
And he had such an overspeed. It just seemed that he could have made that move. I mean, I think this is the really disappointing thing is that, well, how do you feel about it, right? So let's say we come to the end of the season, Oscar wins, which looks likely right now, but Lando has continued to have... Lando still looks quicker, is what I'm saying. He makes mistakes, which knocks him out of contention, be it in qualifying or the race at this time. But so many of these races, Lando's 8 seconds behind because he's made a mistake in qualifying, and he just drives straight up to the back of Piastri and looks like he's faster. So we could end up in a situation where Oscar wins by rights because he's consistent, he's quick, he makes the most of his opportunities, but Lando's actually faster. So it's like this old Senna versus Prost thing. It's like Prost, everyone called him the professor because he just tried to win in the least effort possible. And Ayrton was this like super flamboyant, on the edge all the time. I don't know. It feels hard to think of Oscar as a like heroic, glorious world champion. He's going to do it because the other guy keeps making the mistake.
I think Oscar is just, I don't want to say smarter. I'm more humble, I think, and more, even in the beginning of the race, he's not that aggressive. He knows what he has to do to maintain the lead, to finish the race, to be in the top 5. I don't think he goes into the race thinking, I deserve and I should win every single race. And I think Lando has a little bit of that mentality, like, this is mine. And so you can see it. Like, Oscar doesn't make those foolish mistakes. He's picking and choosing his battles. And it's just going to play out. And so, yeah, I don't know. Norris might be faster, but if he can't finish races, he keeps making mistakes. Like, then ultimately he's not, you know? And it's kind of the same as like George. Like, I don't think George is the fastest driver, but his consistency is there. He can do something super impressive when he needs to. And then he just knows how to manage his own race for wherever he's at. And Oscar feels like he's managing his race better than Lando is.
He is. It's like a slight panic almost, isn't it? It's like Lando gets to the back and he must be thinking, well, I'm far. Like, if you were just cool and could just take a step back, I'm faster than Oscar. I just need to sit here and find that perfect opportunity and then execute. And instead it feels erratic, doesn't it? I get it. It's split-second decisions. They're in cars doing 180 miles an hour, whatever. All of that is true. However, other people aren't making those errors of judgment quite as often. So you can't judge these against yourself. You can't be like, well, I couldn't do it, therefore I can't comment on it. You have to judge it against their peers, former world champions. And when you do that, Lando comes up short in those situations.
I think it might be the cute McLaren curse, because I just finished the F1 Academy, the last 2 episodes last night, and Bianca, who was driving for McLaren, is the cutest driver. And I think, like, if you think the same thing in F1, Lando's probably the cutest driver. And she is an incredible driver, but the same thing, the mental game last season destroyed her. Every race, she would have a race where she and they're the same car, she would overtake all these people and then spin out because she drove too hard or tried to do it. And it was like every single episode, her mental side got a hold of it, because she was for sure the most famous F1 Academy driver last year, had the most followers. She was on the front cover of Vogue Philippines, all this stuff, but then got into her head. And it's kind of like Lando now is like the heartthrob, the Justin Bieber of F1, and it's weirdly messing with them.
Wow. Do you think he's going to go the way of Bieber?
I honestly, what I always say about Bieber is
not.
like the fact that he's still as normal as he is a big attribute. Like, that kid at the age of 13 had millions of dollars, and probably every woman, doesn't matter the age, would have committed a crime to sleep with him. And then he's like worth so much money. He's the biggest pop star, that's alive right now, kind of. And he's relatively normal. Like, could you imagine having that much fame and that much power? Would you be normal? I would be so not
I'd
normal.
try it. I'll give it a try.
I'd give it a good try, and I would be off my rocker for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be alive right now. I don't.
Well, I mean, he's been through it as well. Let's not forget he's had the. There's more to it than just that, even.
Also, we got to go back because we missed it in qualifying when George Russell got pole. It was the greatest thing. Laura was watching it with me, and it's like silence, and then you hear George say, "Talk to me." He knows he got P1, and then nothing, and then talk to me. Like, Laura was like, he is by far the thirstiest driver. There's no one that needs more reassurance than George Russell. He's just like, can someone please tell me how awesome I am? Can someone please tell me that I'm the greatest driver for Mercedes right now? Like, it was so telling about George.
Yeah, they all seemed really giddy this weekend. I mean, even Toto on the radio, it was just they seemed giddy with their performance, and they rightfully so. I mean, P1 and P3, that's a huge win for them, but yeah, they all seem to be on a different level this weekend.
Yeah. The start disappointed me. I thought it was going to be mayhem. Like, I was really convinced.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be Max Verstappen's race ban. Like, it's going to be it. But no, it was kind of calm.
I agree with Charlie. I feel like Russell's just, I mean, he was under quite a lot of pressure in some ways. Kimi Antonelli comes in, Toto's bigging him up as the greatest thing since Max Verstappen.
They made a whole documentary about him.
They make a documentary about him. Like, he is the heir apparent. Lewis is gone. Kimi's the new Lewis. He's going to take over from George, win 7 world titles in a row. That's the narrative. And Kimi did brilliantly this weekend, obviously. But George is killing him, like, for pace. He's absolutely killing him.
And we can't forget last year, even with Lewis, like, Lewis was the guy, but George was outperforming him, and he still didn't get any of that credit either. It's like an uphill battle every step of the way.
It is. He must feel, I don't know, just like he doesn't, like, maybe that's why he needs this affirmation, because he doesn't get it from within the team. He's not overlooked, but people aren't talking about Russell in the same way they're talking about Piastri or even Antonelli's future, etc. He is arguably doing Verstappen, him, and Piastri are the 3 best drivers this year, without a doubt, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, and more so even George and Max, because they clearly do not have the fastest car on any weekend. They are making it happen with what they've got. They're managing the race according to what their car is capable of, but the McLarens look different. They look faster. And so, yeah, George and Max are putting together a great season for the hand they've been dealt.
Yeah, I feel like George could genuinely have a proper tilt at the title if the car was consistent, couldn't he? I don't think he'd be throwing it off the road. And I know they're all driving with a bit less pressure than the McLaren guys, because I do feel the McLaren guys are like, you're driving with history ahead of you. Like, this is it. This is my chance. And you can feel that weight, particularly on Lando, and the others maybe don't have it. But yeah, Verstappen, and he's just so sharp, isn't he, Verstappen? And then Russell's just, anytime there's a sniff, he gets front row or a podium, or in this case, a win. He's much as we laugh about him, he's doing bloody well.
He is. He really is.
Yep.
He's the guy. Okay, what were the other big story? I mean, more heartbreak for Yuki, or just like general, just not happening, is it?
No.
I'm very curious. It doesn't seem like there's even any glimmer of hope there. So I'm curious what happens. Do they just ride it out? Like, they've already tried a few folks in the car. Do they just ride it out with him and figure it out next year, or what do they do?
I've seen rumblings of Charles Leclerc going over there, but it's like, it's not even really that serious. People are like, that should be his move. But whether that's just early days.
Well, what would you do? Leclerc is, he's a Ferrari. He loves Ferrari. Like, he is his childhood dream. He's been with them forever as a junior driver, but he's bloody good. He clearly thinks he's the best. You can't hang around forever, can you? Just hoping that maybe Ferrari will deliver, and they consistently just can't do it. I mean, I'd be tempted.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted, but also they should be better for sure. But they're not the worst on the grid. They have weekends. They're close enough that I feel like there's going to be that pull to just we're right there. You know, like we're close enough. They're better than like the Williams or the Alpine. You know, they're still in that upper echelon of teams.
Yeah.
They just can't quite get there. So I think there always is going to be like, oh, but we're so close. I really want to switch it up. And where are the spots? Like, do you want to go play second to Max? Is that something that any of these guys want to do? I don't know.
That is a pairing I'd love to see. Max versus Charles Leclerc in the same car. If anyone can live with a car that Max likes, is Leclerc. He can do things with cars. You can see it in qualify. The way he drives the car is so on the nose, and he's sliding, and yeah, he's got that confidence to go crazy in the way that Verstappen does. So yeah, I'd love to see that.
It would be good or the worst move of his entire career. I mean, it could just be like, it would be the saddest part of the curse, I think, if he went there and it's just like undrivable.
I wonder too if like right now he can sit back and say, I am the best driver on the grid. I don't have the car, right? Like clearly he's got the third, fourth fastest car. He's not supposed to be winning all these races, not supposed to be winning in the championship. I wonder if there's a piece of it too. Like if he goes to the fastest car and doesn't win, then what does it say? You know, like now no longer does he have that excuse, where now it's like the narrative is he's so much better and Ferrari should be delivering on a car for him so that he can compete, blah, blah, blah. But if that narrative is switched and it's now, well, he's got the car, but he's still not winning. It's kind of what we're seeing at Red Bull right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Red Bull thing is a mystery to me. Like, I don't get it. Because if you look at Yuki, he got in the car and he was quick immediately. Like, when he first got in it, he was quick, no problem. He was a couple of tenths off. Then he'd make a mistake in quali or whatever. Now, he's never quick. And they all do that. Everyone jumps in the car, and the first couple of practice sessions, you're like, oh, they look all right. And we said the same about Yuki. Oh, he's been a bit unlucky, but the first couple of weekends, he's looked close. And then they just fall off a cliff. And is it just confidence spiraling out of control? I don't understand it, because it doesn't happen in any other seat. Even if, you know, Hamilton's struggling against Leclerc, but he doesn't just disappear and get worse and worse and worse and worse. It's a really odd phenomena, really. They're weird.
Yeah.
My shout for Red Bull's second seat now is Alonso. I think it would be awesome.
I feel he's someone who would drive that car. Like he could figure out that car, I think.
Yeah. And it wouldn't piss Max off too much, because he'd know Alonso's only got a year or two anyway before he's going to retire. Like no one can be racing in F1 when they're 50 or whatever. He might not have the speed of Leclerc, but he's not going to be. There's no car in the world in which Alonso is like 8/10 off his teammate. It's just not happening. Like he's going to be close. And his hunger for it just is undiminished. That's what I love. As soon as the car's good, he's upbeat and he's putting in mega qualified lap. He doesn't seem to fade away. It's incredible.
Honestly, that would be the move. Swap Alonso and Yuki. Yuki goes there because Honda's moving to Aston Martin. That could be a great switch.
Yeah, I'm voting for that.
I think everyone would like it in that scenario. Alonso for sure wants to try to drive that Red Bull. Yuki would be like, thank fuck, I'm out of here. Like, just as horrible.
They really are. They really are not good. Okay, what else? I mean, the race was good, wasn't it? It wasn't like an absolute barnstormer until that last 5 laps, but it was pretty close. It was nice to see McLaren's just not running away with it, really, wasn't it?
It was.
We did see George and Max playing some games with each other during the safety car, which is what
fun. That penalty was about. They tried to get him like a. I don't know why.
Yeah, they put in a protest, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, they did too. They protested his like unsafe driving or something, whatever the term is, but for driving unsafely. And then they also were trying to say that he was too far behind the safety car.
Oh, okay. So they were saying erratic driving, weren't they? And you have
Erratic
to say,
driving, yep.
you have to stay 10 car lengths, within 10 car lengths of the safety car.
And they were
But
saying
it says he slammed on his brakes. He didn't slam on his brakes. He like put his brakes on, but also Max is always trying to get up there. So he's like, all right, you're going to try to do this. I'm going to brake check you a little bit and you're not behind me. Like it's not.
The first thing I thought was like, this is exactly what I would do. When he's getting up as close as he can within an inch of being too far forward, that's exactly, my body would just do it. I wouldn't even think about it. I would just brake.
Oh, how often do you do that on the highway? You probably do that daily. I do it at least 3 times a day. You try to ride my ass, I am slowing right down.
Yep.
And then as soon as you try to pass me, I'm speeding right up into that gap. Like I am totally messing with you. Laura's just like yelling at me, stop it. Stop it.
Also, Max is the king of playing those games. I mean, that's why he's so good at the restarts. Is he does the same. He knows the game, and he knows how to throw you off, throw your timing off, get you second guessing what he's going to do. And so to see George do it to him, and then he lost it, yelling and they brake checked me and on.
Well, that was the thing. They're both immediately on the radar. It was like simultaneous, wasn't it? Max is like, he's brake checking me. And George is like, yeah, he just overtook me under the safety car. Not allowed to do that. It's like, George is a funny character, but I'm starting to like the needle that he's giving Max because he's the only one who does it. No one else will do it.
He probably did want Max to get a penalty point because of that. Like that's what he's hoping for.
I mean, they're competing in the championship, I guess.
Yeah.
For that third spot at the moment.
They are. And I think he feels like this is groundwork for the future as well. Like if there is ever a championship battle between them, he wants to know that how to rile up Max, how to make him do all these things.
He's doing it.
And he's just tweaking here and there, like trying to find holes in the armor. And he's doing it. Like Max is getting wound up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
I loved seeing it. And then they just double down and they're petitioning. They're trying to challenge everything after the race. It's like, come on.
What Toto was very disparaging, wasn't he? What did Toto say about it? I can't remember.
He said it was like small or petty or something.
Yeah, small and petty and pathetic and a waste of everyone's time. And funny enough, George said that Max didn't even know about the protest when they got to the F1 premiere. Yeah, George was like, oh, Max didn't even know about it, apparently. But whether Max just said that or not, again, it's all part of the mind games between those two, isn't it?
I think Max, as soon as the race is over, he's on to the next thing. He's not thinking about that race anymore. He'll complain in the moment, sure. When there's 5 laps left, he'll try to get what he can. But when it's over, I think it's out of sight, out of mind for him. He
even was interviewed about like when he ran into George, and he was just like, "We're still talking about that. This is why I hate the media. We got like he just hate. You ask him a question twice, he's over it. Not
He's not a happy boy. So, I mean, the other real talking point of the weekend seemed to be the film, didn't it? Because they've just had the premiere. It was all over the billboards. So we're going to have to reserve judgment on that because we haven't had some early press screening for reasons unknown.
I watched all my TikTok was last night is the premiere because the big premiere was last night in New York.
Yeah.
There's been like 100 different premieres and screenings and, I think Dax got to go to an early screening of it, and we're maybe the only people in F1 that haven't seen it yet, but it's going to be exciting on that first day.
We'll get around to it in the next month. No, we should do it over the weekend, and then we can talk about it next week, I think.
It come out this Friday?
No, the 27th. 27th, so next Friday.
Really?
So we gotta book our tickets, yeah.
Friday.
IMAX, for sure. But it was, every driver was there, like Oscar wasn't there. Max wasn't there. Max just said, he's going to be with his baby, which is obvious. And that was it. Everyone else was there. Everyone was dressed up to the nines. Lewis looked like royalty. Nico Hulkenberg, in my opinion, was worse dressed. He was wearing this like weird shiny jacket with a different color shiny shirt underneath. It was like, and then it was funny because I saw Gabriele Bortolotti was making fun of his pants. They were doing an interview together, and he was like, "Those are the most out of date." He was wearing like skinny jeans with rips in the knees, and he's like, "Those are the most out of date pants I've ever seen." And Nico Hulkenberg was like, "I also don't care what you say." It was so funny. And like,
Well, Nico is German, so a shiny
fashion does not
shirt-
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, like a shiny jacket and a shiny shirt and ripped jeans is very, very on brand if you're German.
Mhm.
If you're a German person having a crazy, wacky night, then
That's it.
that is basically the uniform, you know?
Yeah. And then people were making fun of Charles Leclerc because he wore like an oversized suit, and it was on purpose. And I think he looked amazing. He looked real good. Ocon was the only one that wore a tuxedo and looked kind of strange. Like they all looked fashionable, and he just wore like a proper wedding tuxedo.
What was your opinion of Brad Pitt? It was the first time I've ever seen Brad Pitt in an outfit, and I was like,
I don't know.
Look good.
He's been kind of going off like in a good way, off the rails for this press tour. Like he's been wearing the wild stuff. And man, every time I see him with a shaved head, I'm like, I maybe need to shave my head, but I'll never look like Brad Pitt. But like, no one looks better in a shaved head than Brad Pitt. Like Fight Club, shaved head, fucking.
It's true. Pitt. I just wasn't sure about the outfit. I wasn't sure about the jacket, and it was a bit weird.
But I'll do a pulp one here because we're talking about the F1 movie. I noticed it right away, and I was looking through the internet just to find out if I was wrong or if I saw this differently. And then I finally saw someone that did it. Lando Norris had a major fashion faux pas on the red carpet. And we have all probably done this as guys. When you get a suit and you don't snip the two little strings that hold on the back flap, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't snip them. And it was weird. It was like hugging his butt perfectly. And when he'd move, it would bunch up. Like first time I wore a suit, I was like, these strings are here for a reason. Like, I guess I keep them there. I'm going to rip the suit if I take these off. So I just left them. And then I realized that you must snip them always. And he didn't. So his style is screwed up, or he just got it and he hasn't worn enough suits that he didn't know.
He's just so distraught. He's so mentally destroyed by Oscar that he can't even snip his suit into correct fashion. It's bad times for Lando. It's just another sign of him psychologically crumbling under the pressure.
Yeah. It's a rocky road for him right now.
He's spiraling out of control.
Real rough. But I also heard Brad Pitt said he did 1,600 hours behind an F1 car.
What do you mean? In the car?
It was either 1,600 hours or 1,600 miles. It was a lot of whatever it was, is that what he drove in an F1 car. Or their version. I think it was an F3 car, right?
It was, yeah, dressed up F3, car, yeah.
Yeah,
1,600 miles makes sense. It looks, from what I've seen, the action looks fantastic. I fear the storyline will be, how to describe it, a cheese fest and lots of strange stuff happening. But who cares? Like if it looks cool and brings more people in, it's got Brad Pitt in it, and it's got great action on the track. It should be. Yeah. It's got to be fun. It can't be worse than the last Mission Impossible that I just watched, which was truly, truly bad. So
I think it'll be cool to see all the on-location race weekend footage.
Yeah,
because you see so many of these sports movies or recreated documentary something, and it's clearly a set. And it's not real. It's not authentic. But we know what these tracks look like. We know what their pit lanes look like. We know what the landscape looks like. Silverstone, for example, to see them actually there on a race weekend, I think will be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And
it's getting all the reviews coming out are good, and the reviews from F1 fans are saying no, this does do it justice. If you're a purist, you're going to enjoy it. I saw Charles Leclerc was saying it used to be nice to come to America, because they could kind of walk through New York and no one would recognize them. And he's like, it's not the same anymore, which kind of sucks, but also is good for the sport. And, it kind of sucks, though, that they did have that. It would be a lot of European soccer players could probably go to the Midwest and they would be the biggest celebrity in the world and no one would know who they were.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want. You want, well, if you want fame, which I think is a bad thing to want, but let's say you're successful and it's great because you make money, everything's cool. You definitely want a big pocket of the world who has no idea what you do, so that you can have that anonymous holiday and just enjoy yourself. So yeah, that's tough now for the F1 guys. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to Pulp, and we have a new Pulp sponsor, right behind Charlie. Charlie, why don't you tell us a little bit about your new product that is now launched? And that can be our official sponsor for Pulp.
This is my new kids line, Bad Badger. The first product is hot chocolate. It's I just got it. Man, it's been a long process, but it just tastes like Swiss Miss childhood hot chocolate, but it's low calorie and high protein. So that's my new little.
So this is your thing.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He started
yeah.
it from scratch. He's been working on it for, I don't know, a couple of years now, right?
It's been a long time. We had a food lab develop the recipe and the taste and tweak it back and forth and sampling. And then, that's for every one step I know I have to do, I've discovered 10 other ones in the process that I have to do, but it's finally here. And badbadgertreats.com. Go order one.
That's awesome.
Everyone's
So
thinking
what
her
are
Bad
the
Badger.
steps now? You're going to sell direct and then you'll get it into Whole Foods and then you can take us all on holiday somewhere. Is that the deal?
That's the plan. Direct to consumer now, kind of organic growth to get some sales, social media stuff, and then hopefully go into stores or Amazon or like a bigger market.
Wow.
That's
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
That's
learn
very
as you go.
entrepreneurial. I like the spirit. I feel like we need to do something like that now.
So we got Bad Badger Pulp. One thing that weirdly was kind of hidden from this weekend and hasn't been talked a lot about, Lewis Hamilton killed the Canadian groundhog
He did.
on lap 9 or 10, and it went down. Like, this is a Canadian icon. I don't know if there's 2 or 3 groundhogs, but like I don't know if he killed the only groundhog at the track. Like, it's an island.
There's
so not a lot
hundreds.
of
What are you
new-
talking about?
But I don't know.
There's not one groundhog that's been living
There
there
might
for
be.
25 years.
It's an island. There's maybe a family, so maybe the father's now dead. And obviously, Lewis being a vegan or vegetarian, whatever he is, was very upset about it. But it didn't get as much. I thought it would get a lot more traction and press. Like, I thought
I
it would
didn't
be on
even
every
hear
video.
about it during the race.
No.
They didn't even mention it. Nothing. And I guess it
Yeah.
caused some damage. Obviously, that's a big
he
old
said
animal.
it was shredded underneath. Like, that's at least a 20-pound, 15-pound animal.
Yeah. And I didn't even notice it. Like, they didn't mention it, say anything. So I don't know. I think intentionally they're like, we
They're
can't
like, this is a
show
bit of a
this.
downer.
This is
Like a
bit of
bird, who
downer.
cares about a bird? But a groundhog, it's cute. It's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Aye,
they could.
aye,
Yeah.
aye.
Funny enough, in Le Mans, one of the BMWs retired. I can't remember what hour it was. It was well into the night because it hit a rabbit and it caused all sorts of damage, like hold radiators and all the rest of it. And they couldn't fix the car, and that retired as well. So wildlife playing havoc everywhere you go. But yeah, groundhog is a shame. It was a shame. But I'm sure there's more than one. Don't worry. There'll be another one waiting in the
let's
wings.
Hope so. Yeah.
I think they hold
this-
auditions there for the groundhog that's going to be the official groundhog
official
of
one?
the circuit, and they've been waiting for years for this moment for
Yeah.
that groundhog to die.
They probably,
the ultimate sacrifice.
They probably pushed him out there, the other groundhog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, we need a little
Get him
more
off his
notoriety
throne,
here. Yeah. It was his son. He's just like, I need to be king now.
Yeah,
It's time to
it's
take
time.
over.
It's time.
So we also there was an incredible video of Lawrence Stroll walking down the pit lane, or the back in between the garages and whatever, walking down, and obviously Dick itched a little bit. So does a little outside of the pants scratch, and then that wasn't enough. So he went inside the pants and adjusted and fixed everything up and just kept on
Wow.
walking. Like, I get it. There is so many times you got to fix it. You got to adjust. But like, you got to know you are always on camera in that thing.
Timing.
And you might want to just be like, I got to go into this place, take care of this, and get back out. But I guess when you're with billions, you just do it. Just
didn't
do
care.
it.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't got someone to just follow him around and do that for him, to be honest. But maybe that would be even worse publicity if someone
Yeah.
reached in there for him.
Also, I think something happened. I heard something where like there was a video that went around that he had all these girls on his shoulders at the club, and people were losing it. They're like, "You're injured. You shouldn't be doing this." But then apparently it's not Lance. It was like a guy at the club that looked like him. And then people started to really go and hate in on Lance. And I think Ocon said something, released a statement that like, he's a super shy dude. He is not very talkative, doesn't want to be part. He actually cares way more than people think about driving. It's all he thinks about and talks about is driving. And with his close friends, he is a great guy. And we've heard through people that have met Lance at the beginning, he was a bit of a hard hang. And then later on, they were like, okay, once he loosened up, he was actually awesome. And I think we got to give Lance a little bit more credit. He's just because he's rich doesn't mean he's not a nice guy.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
He's Canadian. He has to be a nice guy.
Do you feel that love for him as a Canadian, or you just like, yeah, whatever?
Like, I wish he was up there more, but like, I feel like if he started like next year, Adrian Newey comes out with a crazy car and they seem to be running in the top 3, I'm immediately going to pivot loyalties and I'm going to be a massive Lance Stroll fan. If that's possible, I would love to.
And also, I think because Kimi this weekend was like the 3rd youngest driver to podium behind Max, and I think it was Lance.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Lance has had some great races in the past. He put it on pole position and a car that was in no way really capable of pole position. He was great always in wet races. Like he can drive, but he's sort of fallen off a bit of a cliff this year, hasn't he? It's just not really come together. But it must be hard. You go to work in a job where the whole world is watching, and 95% of that world believes you're there just because your dad is rich and has paid for you to be there. Like, it's how you would keep, how you'd want to bother speaking to people when you know that's the sort of prejudice against you, and B, how you keep the motivation, especially when things start going wrong. It's not actually easy for him. So we do occasionally laugh at Lance, but he's, it must be quite tough. Although I would happily be a slightly miserable F1 driver, son of a billionaire. Like, life's not so bad.
I'd give it a try. I'd give it a try.
Yeah,
I'd like
I could
to live
try
that
it
life for a little bit.
I could try that for 5 lifetimes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
We also had Danica just saying some stupid shit, and Nico Rosberg just like, she was saying that it's an easy track. It's not a hard track to drive when you also have the wall of champions that some of the best drivers in the world all ran into. But then you see Nico as she's saying that, he's just like, immediately starts biting his lip, like obviously, and wasn't doing it before. And you're like, oh man, the things you're holding in right now are so incredible. Like, it's like she's hated by everyone, and it's shocking. They can't put a better, they want a woman in there, and there's gotta be a better choice.
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony would be a infinite better choice. She is, I'm surprised she's not one of the top presenters in F1.
They clearly don't get along, see eye to eye on anything, like each other. They can't even stand each other. And it's so obvious that I can't figure out who on the production side is like, yeah, this is working great for us. This is the duo we need.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's hard,
I mean, I like it. I like seeing it. It's funny. But also, if that was me running it, I'd be like, yeah, this isn't working. We got to do something else. Separate
but
them.
it doesn't matter if it's Nico or Jensen or whoever it is. It doesn't really work, and it feels bad piling on. But yeah, it's hard when there's some crazy shit coming out of her mouth. She did some great stuff in cars.
She did.
But yeah, I don't know enough about her career to be too judgmental. She's obviously a good driver, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, she's not super likable, and I don't know if that's nerves and it makes her say stupid stuff, or I don't really know what it is, but it doesn't work on the screen.
But you see it across all sports. When not everyone, just because you're good at your sport or your activity, does not mean you make a good announcer or analyst for that same sport. I mean, it happens in football, it happens in basketball, it happens in Formula One and racing. So yeah, she could have done incredible things. Doesn't necessarily mean she's the best option for being on camera.
She should be the best option for being on camera in NASCAR. That would be an incredible thing. It's weird that she's in F1. But yeah. Okay. And then last thing we got is, I saw it today, Gabriel Bortolotto had his passport and all of his documents stolen the day he was leaving for Canada. Which, that stress level. Like, thank God you have a team behind you that's like, probably has access to every consulate and able to get shit done. But like, that is my biggest anxiety anywhere I travel, is having that. Like, I don't even put my shit in the safe. I hide it between certain things in the room because now I have a green card. So like, if you take my passport with the green card in it, I am fucked.
Yeah.
Really? You have paranoia about it?
Oh, I'm the type of person that I check my passport before I travel. I'd say by the time I leave my house to I get on the plane, I've touched it 30, 40 times. Like I unzip and I check it.
Like
I
Lawrence
unzip, I check
Stroll's
it. I
assistant.
unzip, check it. Yeah, it's I just unzip, check it. Unzip, check it. Just making sure it's there. I got to
just
make sure
life.
it's there. Yeah.
Make sure it's still there,
Ugh.
Where was it stolen from?
I don't know. I guess he could have been anywhere because there was a bit of a break. So
Yeah.
who knows where he was? Probably back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably back
Stressful
home.
moment. Stressful moment.
And was it stolen or did he just lose it? And that's just what they said.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'd say.
Who knows?
If I was about to get on a flight. Oh, it got stolen.
Mhm.
Was held at gunpoint. Okay, cool. So
we've got a bit of a break.
we have a break. I'm going to mention this guy who won Le Mans,
the hero,
because he is a proper hero. So Polish guy, Robert Kubica. You guys might have heard of him. So he was coming up through karting, the guy, raced Hamilton and Alonso, all of that era. And Robert Kubica was the guy, the best in the world. Like no one could really beat him. He came up through the cars, great record and everything. Got into F1, raced for Renault. Raced for BMW Sauber, 2006 to 2009. In 2008, he won the Canadian Grand Prix, funnily enough. And the car was good enough to probably fight for the title, but BMW were determined that they had a really good car for the year. There was a rule change coming and they were going to focus all their efforts, similar to what we're going through now, but they were going to focus all their efforts. And he was saying, no, we could win this title. Like, let's not do that. Anyway, they didn't listen to him, and their car for 2009 was an absolute shitbox, like literally about the worst car on the grid. So he went from being potentially challenging for a title into this crap car. Then he went to Renault for 2010. I was going to say they're 2011 and had a pre-contract for Ferrari for 2012. And he was the guy, like, if you spoke to Alonso or Hamilton, said, who's the best driver on the grid? They would say Robert Kubica. And he, not a typical F1 driver at all, didn't care about fashion, didn't look super cool, but just loved driving. And at weekends, he'd race in rally events and he'd be go-karting still and all this stuff. Anyway, he had this horrendous crash in the off season in 2011 in a rally car. Basically, he crashed sideways into like an Armco barrier. The Armco went through the car and basically took his arm almost off below the elbow. He was stuck in the car for hours. They got him out. They rescued his arm, but obviously with huge restrictions in terms of mobility and everything. It was awful. Like, it was like, there was live reports of them like trying to get him out of the car, and it was like, it looked like he was going to die at times. Like, it was horrendous. Most people would not be able to do anything after. Like,
I was going to say, for me, that's it. I'm done. I'm done at that point.
But he was determined, like, I'm going to get back to F1. He went hard in the rehab. He ended up coming back in rally, the thing that had almost killed him and certainly ended his F1 career. He did the WRC2 championship, the very first one. Let me just check the date, in 2013. So 2 years after his accident, he won the title. He then went to a full WRC effort with M Sport, with Ford. And then incredibly, he returned to F1 in 2019, racing for Williams as George Russell's teammate, actually. And the car was absolute pants back then. It was awful, but he got fairly well beaten by George Russell, which is probably understandable. Anyway, he then went into German touring cars, and now he's in endurance racing. I don't want to talk too much about his injury, but his arm is visibly much, much weaker. He'll shake your hand with it. I've interviewed him a few times. He's an absolute lovely guy, but his arm is, if you had to score it out of 100 compared to his other arm, I'd say it's like a 20. It's visibly holds it different. There's no strength in it. In a top level prototype, Ferrari prototype, he is as fast as anyone. literally as fast as any other driver, including, world-class teammates and competition. He qualifies the car against the best sports car drivers in the world and will get pole positions. Like, the guy is, he's driving, again, I don't want to presume to know too much, but he is driving with a massive, massive restriction in terms of mobility and strength in one of his arms. Anyway, he won Le Mans, and he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. And he crossed the line as well, which is really cool. He was in the car for basically 4 hours straight at the end, under huge, huge amounts of pressure from the factory Porsche behind him and his two Ferrari, the other sister sort of Ferrari cars behind him. And he didn't put a foot wrong. He came in, he took a risk. They had like a 45-second lead. He took a risk. You don't have to take tires, but he decided, I'm going to come in for fuel and tires, which added a lot to his pit stop. So he came out with a 10-second lead only. This Porsche was on a charge, and he just steadily pulled away and won the race. No bother at all. Like, on the radio, calm, cool, collected. And I just think, like I say, we talk about heroic motorsport figure. This guy went through so much stuff, and then to come back and win a race, and not some crappy little race, to win the 24 hours of Le Mans is just an iconic moment, I think, in motorsport, and one of the great stories of the last 50 years in motorsport. So I want to say congratulations to Robert. You are a legend, and we are very pleased to have been able to witness it. It was really special.
That's awesome.
Wow. I can't imagine that. The strength differential and 4 hours at a time.
Yeah, and just imagine the feel, like imagine you driving with one arm compared to two, in your car driving around, and then round a racetrack for hours and hours on end against some of the best drivers in the world. Like, just truly mega. And it's such a tragedy what happened, obviously for him and his life, but for fans of F1 as well, because he would have been one of the big players in the past 15 years in F1. He would have won world championships, I'm sure of it. And he would have been such a great rival for Hamilton, for Alonso, and even now for Verstappen. So I guess he would have been getting to the end of his career at this point, but even so, super impressive dude. So if you think you've got problems, and look back to what Robert Kubica did, and it proves that you can do some pretty crazy stuff even when it looks like you can't.
Yeah, that's incredible. Good for him.
Okay, so now we have a break before Austria, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we could watch the F1 film, but we can't. So next week we're going to do something. I tell you what, Matt, speak to F1 Tony, get us a copy of bloody Formula One, the movie, and then maybe we can do a preview. There's probably an embargo on impressions.
I honestly can't even watch. I think I have to watch it in IMAX. I normally would, but I feel like I got to watch this one in IMAX.
Well, that's true. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at this point, I think. Oh, P10. Did we do terribly?
Yep.
We were awful.
We didn't even get a winner.
None of us got
P10.
anything right. No one guessed Russell.
We're back to our standard form.
We suck, but we do know stuff. Okay, well, at this point then, let's forget P10, and Dax would say push. We will be back next week, not talking about the F1 movie, but I imagine there'll be all sorts of fantastic things to talk about. I love you, Roger.
Hey, you never know. If he listens, maybe that might get you another meet and greet.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.
All right, see you guys.